Hey everybody, welcome to my kitchen. Once again, I'm Uncle Frank and this is Team Beer Guts, and welcome to day 3 of our beer advent calendar. Today's video won't be quite as long. We talk about a style that most people know, but there are some subtle differences in between that. And we're going to be talking today about Baltic Porter. So before we get too much into the beer, what exactly is a Baltic Porter? Well, if you think of the Baltics and you're thinking Russia, you're on point. But it's not a Russian Imperial Stout because it's a porter. So we're looking at it as a beer that's going to fall somewhere between robust porter and Imperial Stout. A bigger porter, maybe brewed closer to that Imperial Stout strength. The big difference with that, different from a porter and different from Imperial Stout, which are both ales, both made with ale yeast. This beer is made with a lager yeast, which is very, very interesting and different. Lager yeast allows it to be a little bit cleaner. It means it's going to ferment for a longer period of time at a cooler temperatures. You should not be getting any phenols, any esters, any fruits. All you should be getting if things are from the malt and the hops that are used. Yeast character is going to be very, very minimal for a beer such as this. And what I've got here is a Baltic Porter from where else? Smutty Nose. Oh, and by the way, it is Flashback Friday, so shout out to John Harvard's Brew House, longtime brew pub chain here in the New England area. No longer around anymore, but it's Flashback Friday, and I thought it was a good shirt to be able to wear for the day. Now, this Smutty Nose Baltic Porter has not been made in a few years, and again, that's why I'm trying to get to some of the unique beers, some of the different beers. Bottle date on this says best by, so not even bottle by, but best by. I hope it's still lasted. Best by November 22nd of 2018. We're looking at a 3-year-old beer, which means this is probably, it's meant to be aged. It's going to age for a little while. This is probably either produced or bottled somewhere, let's call it December of 2017. It's going to age for 6 months, and then we're going to bottle it and then let it go. Then it's going to get a 3 to 6 month shelf life. It might have been 3 months, and then it gets a 6 to 9 month shelf life. You see what I'm looking at on the window there. But it's supposed to be best by 18. What's going to happen with the age on these beers? And again, I'm going through a lot of the aged beers that are here in the cellar because, well, why not? It's cold, it's winter, we've got some strong beers. It's Friday night. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to cook some dinner. I'm going to watch Friday Night SmackDown. So, Baltic Porter. Old school looking label here, too. Very classic old Smutty Nose style. This beer is brewed and bottled. I am looking for a percentage, 9% alcohol. So again, the bigger beers can sometimes age. Not all the time, as we found out on day 1, but a lot of times they can, especially if they've got a lot of other things going on. If it's barrel aged, if it's got lots of hops, if it has some other fruits, vanilla, whatever it happens to be. But this is a straight up Baltic Porter. We're just looking at base malt, probably something else I'm going to guess. And again, yes, I work for Smutty Nose now. I did not back then, so I don't know. I don't know the recipe on this beer. But I'm going to go, if I was looking at a Baltic Porter, I'd probably look at some type of Munich or Vienna malt, something that's got some breadiness, and obviously some dark malts and some chocolate roast, those type of flavors, and enough hops to balance it. Again, it's porter, a little bit up here, but robust porter, we want some hops to make sure it's balanced. And this beer is going to be at 9%. I'm sure it's going to have a little bit of that. So, I think you heard that. It's got a little bit of a pop to it. I have a small glass because I'm going to share some with somebody later on. And it's a porter, so I went with the kind of the English drinking mug kind of thing here. It looks really big because it looks bigger than my head right now. Look at the video. It's really just a little tiny, it's a tiny glass. Anyway, what do we got here? Dark, viscous, vinous. Look at the head on that. Look at the dark head. I think you can see that there. It's sort of this chocolate cocoa kind of color that's going on in there, which excites me a bunch. Appearance wise, it looks like an Imperial Stout, but again, less on the alcohol, not as much roastiness as a stout, and it's made with a lager yeast, so this beer should be really, really smooth. I've got a little bit of oxidation. not to be surprised. It is what I say, best by 18, so we're looking at 3 years old. But not overpowering oxidation. It's not like that wet dog, wet cardboard type oxidation. It just smells like an older beer. Some older fruits in there too. Dark for dates. Dates and nuts. I get some nuttiness in this as well, which is going to be something that's going to come from the malt character that's in it, or the malts that are used, excuse me. Taste wise, ooh, again, very close to Imperial Stout, but it's more like a strong, robust porter. And robust porter is going to be robust, a little bit more hoppy, a little bit bigger, as opposed to your brown porter, like an English brown porter, which is going to be very malty and kind of soft and a lot of brown malt and maybe chocolate, where your robust porter is going to be a little bit more on the roasted side. Shouldn't have black malt, shouldn't have that burnt or coffee or anything like that. Those are all stout flavors. So this is extremely smooth, drinkable beer. A little bit of hoppiness still left in this beer as well. The hops are subdued, green, leafy, noble, even, um, with a touch of some other regular hops like maybe Cascade. I find this blend to be very interesting. And again, yes, I do work for Smutty Nose. I could have done homework on this beer, but I didn't because I said, hey, let's have some fun with these beers during our advent, and let's just talk about them. And this is my response on it of what I think I'm tasting. So. Uh, if you're lucky enough to find one of these, again, it's a unique beer. I'm trying to do different unique beers. Maybe you can find them. And I'm sure I'm going to run out of stuff. It's going to happen. But for right now, these are interesting, unique beers. So if you're cellaring any of these, you're going to want to break this out now. If you know people who like to cellar beers, find when's the good point. When do I want to drink it? When's too far? This right now is at a really good point. I wouldn't let it go too much further than this. It just finishes so clean, which makes it hard for me to what I want to pair this with. Like if it was a little bit more longer lasting, I'd say maybe with a Stilton cheese or um, something to that effect, something that has a lingering flavor that this can kind of compete against. But it finishes so clean, I think I might just want to have this with prime rib. Again, nice juicy red meat flavors and this melanoidin flavors that are kind of going on back and forth between the two. If you had a prime rib grilled on the outside, a little char, and the redness and the meat on the inside, and then this had some complexity to it. There's a fruit, and again, don't mistake me when I say fruit. It's not fruity. It is not your fruit smoothie, not at all. But there's a sweetness that's in here that is kind of like a strawberry. So it's subtle because strawberries aren't very sweet. When you have something that tastes like strawberry and it's super sweet and it's in your face, that's artificial. This is like a real type strawberry. That's a natural fermentation flavor that's coming out of this beer. So this is really nice. I'm really glad that I pulled this out. So for day number 3, Advent, again, we're going to try and do a different, unique beer every day for Advent. If you have an Advent calendar, pull it out. Also have some chocolate or toy or whatever. So once again, Smutty Nose Brewing Company, Baltic Porter, best buy date is the 18th, or excuse me, 2018, and that's September. I believe this was bottled or packaged somewhere around December of 2017. Again, that's why you want good equipment. You get all your dissolved oxygen out of this. The beer doesn't spoil, and it's one of my loves about bottled beer. Everything's in cans right now, and doesn't mean that the cans can't have uh, really good beer shelf stability, but the technology is still newer, and bottles, we know. Unless you're running a 4-head Maheen, and that's going to be a piece of garbage, uh, high speed bottle lines are so unique and so good now if you're running that, your beers are going to be really, really good. They're going to be bomb-proof. So if you can get an older beer, you're like, oh, but it's in a bottle. Yeah, that's gonna be good beer right there. So hopefully can technology can catch up to that, but that is a discussion for another time. Anyway, I have taken up enough of your Friday evening. Um, Again, like, subscribe, share, follow us along. Tell your friends that, hey, I saw this crazy dude on the internet, and he's going to be talking about a beer every day from now until Christmas. Because why not? Until then, as always, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and drink good beer. Cheers. That's nice.